Welcome back to Military Knowledge. Bautram is delighted to accompany you on your journey to explore world military history. My dear friends, when the Americans dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, the whole world witnessed the terrifying destructive power of nuclear weapons. It is undeniable that nuclear weapons would provide unparalleled military power. It would make rivals wary of a nation possessing this type of weapon. Both terrifying and amazing, the world's most spectacular nuclear weapons tests will be revealed by Military Knowledge in today's video. Join us as we explore the world's first nuclear weapons test. Trinity, the beginning of the atomic age. This was the result of the Manhattan Project, a U.S. government research program aimed at developing nuclear weapons. During World War II, the atomic bomb that was detonated in the Trinity test was codenamed the Gadget. The location chosen for the test was in the desert of New Mexico, USA. On 1945, this bomb was detonated. The Gadget had a destructive power equivalent to 20 tons of TNT. A blinding flash of light appeared, followed by a deafening explosion, leading witnesses to believe they were experiencing a violent earthquake. The test created a giant mushroom-shaped cloud reaching a height of up to 12 p.m. The shock wave could be measured up to 160 km away from the test site, even from nearly 300 km away from the test site. Windows in houses were shattered, or echoes could be heard. The results were fantastic, as Washington is now the first nation to possess this miracle weapon. Less than a month after that success, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing hundreds of thousands of people. After World War II ended, Washington realized that the geographical location and isolated position of Bikini Atoll in the Pacific Ocean would be an ideal site for nuclear testing, and they began testing the Able and Baker nuclear bombs as part of Operation Crossroads just 1 year later. In 1946, the Able bomb was detonated in mid-air. Any ship still afloat within a radius of 914 meters was severely damaged. Of the high 146 pigs and 30 white mice placed on 22 simulated ship targets. Only 30 sensors. However, the destructive power of Able was still not equal to that of the bomb detonated at the bottom of Baker Sea. It propelled over 1 million cubic meters of heavily radioactive seawater and sand into the air, creating a column of water 1.8 and 9.1, with tsunami waves exceeding 30 m in height, sinking many target ships. The radioactive cloud from the explosion lingered for several days before dissipating in the sky here. The Baker explosion has been called the world's first nuclear disaster, due to the radiation contamination of local residents upon their return. Therefore, the Americans had to wait 8 years to resume nuclear tests on Bikini Atoll. And this time, they brought a new generation of thermonuclear bomb called Castle Bravo. The explosion occurred on March 1, 1954. Within just 1 second of being detonated, it formed a fireball nearly 7 across. Even if you're traveling more than 400 km away, You can still see this fireball. Mushroom clouds reach an altitude of 14 km and a diameter of 11 km in about 1 minute, and altitude of 40 km and a diameter of 100 km in less than 10 minutes, and expand in radius at a speed of more than 100 miles. The consequences of this explosion were truly horrific, as this cauliflower cloud polluted over 18,000 square kilometers of the Pacific Ocean. This bomb was 1,000 times more powerful than the 2 bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. To date, this remains the most powerful bomb ever dropped by the US military. However, Castle Bravo was not the first time Washington tested a thermonuclear bomb. Ivy Mike was the world's first thermonuclear bomb, tested by the Americans. Ivy Mike was 6 meters high and 2 meters wide, covered in a 300 mm thick steel shell, and weighed 56. To prevent the main ingredient, liquefied deuterium, from evaporating, a cooling solution were used. Its total weight is 74 tons. Looking at this, you can see that its size is truly enormous. So no one could possibly transport it on an airplane. This bomb was assembled at a test base on Elujalab Island in the Inuiatak Atoll in the Pacific Ocean. On November 1, 1952, local, the bomb was detonated. The fireball had a radius of 2,933 km. The mushroom cloud it created reached a height of up to 17 kilometers. The base of the cloud had a diameter of 41 km, and the widest part of the cloud's peak had a diameter of 161 km. Surprisingly, Ivy Mike created a crater 9 km in diameter and 50 m deep, completely obliterating the island of Elujalab. That's in the US? But what about their rival in this nuclear arms race, the Soviet Union? They created the world's largest nuclear bomb test, the Tsar Bomba. On October 1961, the Tsar Bomba, also known as the Tsar Bomba, was dropped from an altitude of approximately 500 meters. Specially painted white reflective Tu-95E bomber and detonated at an altitude of 4. It produced a fireball visible from a distance of 1,000 km in cloudy weather conditions, accompanied by a blinding flash of lightning. Just seconds after the explosion, a column of smoke and dust billowed up, reaching a height of nearly 10 kilometers. The giant fireball then slowly coiled upwards, reaching a diameter of nearly 20 km. 40 seconds later, the fireball reached an altitude of 35 km, before the mushroom cloud began to form and extended to an altitude of 64 km and a diameter of 90 km. The explosion left behind a trail of scorching dry ground for tens of kilometers from the epicenter. Most of the ice and snow in the area have melted, and the structures built before the explosion have crumbled. According to calculations, the Tsar Bomba released the equivalent of 50 million tons of TNT, or 800 American bombs dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. The Tsar Bomba is currently the largest nuclear bomb ever tested by humans to date. Next came Operation Desert Rock at 1957, during which the U.S. military conducted a series of exercises known as Desert Rock, aimed at training soldiers and enhancing their understanding of military operations in a nuclear battlefield. The training exercises included tactical flights and tests to determine the destructive power of nuclear weapons. American soldiers will be able to witness the tests up close. The officers wanted to know how soldiers would react to massive explosions on the battlefield. They had to take cover in trenches several kilometers from the explosion site. This horrifying image sent shivers down my spine, because this is the first time I've seen a training exercise where soldiers have to face the terrifying sounds of explosions, shockwave, optical radiation, penetrating radiation, battlefield dust and smoke, and of course, the effects of radioactive dust on their bodies like this. And finally, there's a video capturing the horrific scene of the Wahoo nuclear test. The Wahoo test took place on May 16, 1958. The test site is a large area of sea near Inuit Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The bomb was detonated at a depth of 1 mm in the deep sea, at a depth of nearly 1,000 mm. According to military research, the Mark 7 nuclear bomb has an explosive yield of 9 kilotons, which is 2.3 the explosive yield of the little boy atomic bomb. But it is much smaller and more compact. Within 1 second of the explosion, a wall of water was created, and this wall quickly reached a height of 20-60 mm after second. It has a conical, dome-like shape with edges angled at 45 degrees. After the second explosion, other streams of water were created, piercing the initial wall of water and spreading in all directions. This wall of water moved for 20 seconds, quickly reaching a height of nearly 800 meters before collapsing. Those were some hot clips of the 7 most horrific nuclear weapons tests in the world. Share your feelings about this weapon of mass destruction with everyone. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to watch the latest videos from KTQS. And now, on behalf of the program team, Bautram would like to say hello and wish you all a peaceful new day.